Hello, everyone, and welcome to. There was like a pause in the record. I hit record and it didn't start, and then it went. It was very funny.
So we'll just keep going like this.
Welcome to the next episode of CCT, the first 5 years.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Gail Becker.
I'm Andy Abrams, and we are the founders of Capacity Theater, and this is a new program we're doing, and we're very excited today to have
It's the first interview of our new show that we're talking about.
Wait, what?
It's the first interview of the new show we're talking about.
First interview of the new show we're talking about.
Right, because we just finished up doing, I think, On the Town.
Oh.
No, Spelling Bee.
Of the new show that we haven't done. Yes, we're doing. So today we're going to talk to someone who was in Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill, and I'm going to actually just bring her on in.
Yeah. Why are we doing this? Because actually we're reaching out to the people who have been with us for the first 5 years and seeing how they're doing. And look!
And we have Tracey Conyer Lee here today with us, who was Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill. It was all about her one womanish show about Billie Holiday, and one of our greatest successes, artistically and financially too, I suppose. But one of my favorites. I mean, it was so great because we just got to watch it happen, and it all came together in a week. And here you are, and welcome back to Madison, Wisconsin.
Yay! You're part of the first 5 years.
Cold here.
Yeah, it's a little cold here. It was really warm this weekend, and now it's like it's in the 50s again. It's like weird.
Yes, I'm wearing a sweater again.
Yeah, same there. Well, yeah, but you're in Upper Manhattan. It's colder up there than it is in Middle Manhattan.
Yes, indeed. The northern
area.
What have you been doing to keep yourself busy during this quarantine time?
Well, to be perfectly honest, initially, nothing.
Good.
When the quarantine began, I had a play that I wrote running in Chicago. I was 2 days from starting rehearsal for a play that I wrote that was workshopping here in New York. I had a bunch of gigs lined up for when that workshop closed for the spring. And when all of that just abruptly stopped within a day, we closed earlier than the rest of the country, not by federal mandate, but by our sheer numbers. I hibernated, to be perfectly honest.
Understandable.
Quite some time. There was not going to be any money coming in, so I thought the easiest way to not spend any money is to stay very still.
Yeah, staying still is definitely a way.
Yes, it was devastating. It was devastating initially, and as a newer playwright, any work of mine that's being produced is a feat, and a move forward. It's not just another show. Not that acting is just another show, but I've been doing that for 27 years. So some shows hold a different kind of memory and position of importance than others. Mm-hmm. But all of my writing right now is important to me, and it was what was paying the rent.
So when that abruptly closed, has there been any talk about bringing you back next season? Like, is there a remount? Or restart up?
Chicago production. It got enough of a run. It got reviewed. It got Jeff recommended.
Wow.
It ran enough so that they felt fine with just closing it early, and I was comfortable with that as well.
Okay. What company was that with it? What?
It was Red Twist Theater in Chicago.
Okay.
That's great.
Bryn Mawr Avenue.
Yeah.
Or street, something.
So one thing that we're asking everybody is a couple of things we want to know, and our viewers want to know, whoever watched this. What was one of your favorite memories of Lady Day here, specifically in Madison, that you did?
Well, Lady Day is one of those shows for me that holds great importance always when I do it. And because of that, the cities where I've done Lady Day, I don't know a lot about. Mm-hmm. I don't do a lot of venturing out when I'm doing that play because it takes so much out of me physically, emotionally, vocally, that I stayed indoors, much like I was quarantined for most of that time. So my favorite memories of Madison are literally the staff that I worked with one-on-one. Was really, really wonderful. I've worked at a few theaters that are in their first, second, or third seasons, working really hard to try to figure things out. And I have to say, you guys were awesome in regards to making it all work. Making it all work with a quick turnaround. Making it all work with the fact that you don't always reach outside of Madison to get your talent. Like, it was,
yeah, I know that
very taken care of.
I know that you really enjoyed working with Jan Ross, right? She was she was your wig person.
Yes,
we loved Jan. Yes, fantastic. And I also remember you telling me that this was the first time you had done Lady Day where it wasn't in a theater, like, because we had the tables set up and you had a stage, and then sometimes you'd walk into the audience a little bit, but everyone was at tables like they would be in a bar.
Yeah, it was my first and only. I actually just completed a run in February.
Right.
And Madison is the only time where I was not removed from the audience. It was scary and daunting, and yet an incredible way to rediscover the play, which didn't happen in rehearsals, rediscovering it in that way. It happened when the people were right there, able to touch me and my dog. And
right. So do you remember we had the one show that was that we invited high school students for? I mean, they still send us emails every once in a while about the impact of that show with the kids. So.
And we did a talk back, and I remember I always care about the students being well behaved. But what was really fantastic was the kinds of questions they asked at the talk back. To me, it was a more fruitful engagement conversation than some of the talkbacks I have with random paying adult theater going audiences at theaters across the country.
Have you done I know you've done the show, numerous times, because one, you're just so good at it, and two, it's such a unique role. So getting you to do it around the country is, so lucky for many other theater companies too. Have you had other shows where you've had students attend a student show?
Oh yeah. There are many theaters that build in student matinees
for that show.
Student matinees in their season for the shows that are student appropriate.
Right. Okay. I just wondered other times, other ways.
That's why I'm conscious of the behavior.
Yeah.
I'm very aware of the good and the bad of that scenario.
Yeah.
So what do you like doing? And this is just random question. What is your go-to that's not theater related to, again, either pass the time or when we start, kind of getting outdoors and meeting people again? Like, what's your non-theater fun thing you like to do?
Do I like doing it? I don't know, but I do it all the time. I am a DIYer. Look at my fabric wall that I put up with.
I was going to ask you if that was wallpaper or
it's fabric, upholstery fabric that I bought inexpensive remnants of, thus the lines. I'm not a directions follower. I love to cook. I like to cook. I'm good at it, but I don't like to follow recipes. And I DIY. I don't like to read instructions. I don't like to watch YouTube videos. So I'll watch the first couple of minutes, make sure I've got the ingredients I need, and then I just guess.
Wow.
And I've had lots of successes.
I would recommend not some failures. I would say, so IKEA is not a place that you like. Those inspections at IKEA.
I have a couple of remnants from my IKEA days.
Okay, so as somebody who doesn't know, what does DIY stand for?
Do it yourself.
Oh, should know that.
I actually did a DIY project during the pandemic. an old cedar chest that was my mother's that was falling apart, and you know, it was still inside was still beautiful, but it was falling apart. The lid wasn't on well, and it would cut you when you'd walk by it. And so I painted it and batted it and covered it in fabric so the lid is cushy and soft, and now it's a seating bench that I have.
Nice. See, you do.
Yeah, you kids and your abbreviations. I'm still trying to learn them all.
That's from the 90s.
Yeah. Anyway, so I also then clearly I was never doing anything myself.
That's not true, Andy. You do some DIY projects for your DIY projects yourself.
It sounds like DUI.
You have DUI projects all the time, Andy.
Fortunately, I've never had.
I've been having those too during the quarantine.
True.
I also wanted to talk to you, Tracey, about your plays, because you've had so much success with your writing, and I think that's so wonderful. And I wanted to ask you, do you feel like you have a theme or set of themes that runs through even the plays that you've done so far that you like?
Absolutely. I definitely write about, I shouldn't say about, at the forefront of all my plays is some sort of dysfunctional relationship dynamic, whether it's parental or sibling or friends or spouses or enemies or people who need to work together. There's always, I care about how humans figure it out when it's not tied in a pretty bow for you. Because of that, because relationships are always at the core of my plays, I'm often writing about the things that are going on in our world that I care about.
Sure.
Or that are causing me questions at any given time. I am always writing to find answers to questions that I don't have. That makes sense.
So do you find that like something happens in your life, even something like this, and you're inspired, like it inspires you to start putting pen to paper and you start jotting stuff down?
Usually not one thing. I'll get an idea about I won't say about a story. I'll get an idea to write. That's the right word. I'll get an idea to write, and I keep notes in my phone because it's with me everywhere I go. And something will happen. I'll see something or something else will happen that will feed into that, and then an inkling of a story will hatch, and then something will feed into that. I don't start writing until I'm clear on a full story that I want to tell, and even then, I don't go right into writing. My grad school was all about process. I went to grad school for writing, and it was all about process, and so I do all of my pre-work before the actual writing, but not until I know I have a real story that I want to tell.
Do you ever take? Do you ever take inspiration from, I don't know, books that you've read or movies you've seen or something like that, or is it pretty much organic around you stuff?
A combination of the two. The play that closed in Chicago was inspired by a combination of things. In 2016, there was the Pulse nightclub shootings. I was on tour at the time, and they were really weighing on me. And during that tour, I had a short hiatus and, that wasn't far from my parents, and I went to stay with them on a few days off, and the 1994 or 5 film Set It Off was on TV, and I sat with my dad and watched it, and I watched these women who were getting pummeled by the system take their lives into their own hands. Didn't end up successful for most of them, but the combination of watching that and dealing with a mass shooting made me think of how it will take a woman to save this world. And that's kind of where that play came from.
It's so fun. It's so interesting. It's so interesting you say that, because I know when we were actually working, Gail and I were working on a production of Tuck Everlasting. It would have been about, what was that, 2 years ago, a little 2.5 years ago, something like that. And the other shootings had just happened. What's the high school?
So many.
Right,
was
but,
like, I can't say
one
which.
of the big ones in Florida. What was that one called? The
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That gave birth to the wonderful young woman with the shaved head.
Yes. And I was so upset. And I remember, I don't know if Gail, if you were in these conversations, but I was desperately looking for plays that dealt with this issue because I wanted to try to musicalize it and make it into a musical, because I felt like if I needed to do something because it was making me crazy. And I never did find a play that was, and I think if it's going to be written, it has to be written from scratch. And then we all move on to different projects and it goes away. But I'm glad that you were inspired by that and followed through on that. I do have to say that, like, I had a lovely surprise, turning to a very positive note. I had a lovely surprise when I was watching the TV show on Hulu that I was obsessed with called The Path. And I come across an episode of, was it a bank? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
And and this person, and I'm like, I know her. And I IMDb. I'm like, Tracy! I texted.
I love that
wrote
show.
you.
I was so excited to get on it because I was watching it as well. It was a great show.
I wish it had kept going, because they got to a point where it was like, you're like, wait, is there a wait? It was one of those, and then it ended.
Yes, I know.
But it was so cool to see you on it, and it's always cool to see your friends on TV shows.
Sure.
And then you write them. You're like, I just saw you on TV.
I've seen so many because I've watched so much in the past.
Well, yeah, all you got to do is watch any Law and Order, Good Wife, Good Fight, and you're pretty much covered.
Somebody from New York.
All our friends. Leanne Larkin, who was our Violet, was just on. She was on Blue Bloods. She was on the Nazi thing. What's it called? The chasing the where they're trying to find.
Yes.
Hunters. Yeah, that's it. Hunters.
She was in the first episode of that. So it's like, it's just fun to see everybody.
I know. I love it.
Well, this has been a fantastic catch up with you, Tracy. You're one of my favorites. I miss you, and you were so fantastic.
Oh, wait.
Your face.
We have one more little goofy question. So what, because we've been asking everybody this too, and I know it's sort of like trite, but it doesn't matter. Everybody loves to know the answer. So when you get to go to your favorite restaurant that you get out, where are you going? What kind of food are you having?
Oh, well, I'm really hoping that when we are able to eat together again in New York City, that it is still warm, because I will go somewhere in my neighborhood with outdoor space. I enjoy a spring, summer, fall cocktail hour out of doors, and then I might come and eat. But I can't say where it's going to be. I do have a few favorite restaurants, but wherever it is, I'm doing the whole thing. I'm sitting at the bar and having drinks, then I'm having appetizers somewhere, then I'm going somewhere else for dinner. I'm doing it for
nice.
I miss restaurants.
I know, that whole communal sort of, even if you're not if you don't know everybody in the room, but just that community of everybody sitting and eating and gathering and talking, that is true. We really do. You really do miss it. I miss it a lot.
And
I used to love that.
And this last weekend, we would have just closed our production of Ain't Misbehavin', because we were doing Ain't Misbehavin', and Mr. Nackme was directing it.
Ah,
yeah.
That wasn't able to happen at all.
No, but we were able to, well, depending on how things go, we were able to move it to September.
Okay.
Still crossing fingers.
Still do it in some fashion, but we're going to be chatting with Mr. Steven this week about.
Tell him I said hi.
We will, absolutely. And he directed Lady Day, but he's also going to be directing our Ain't Misbehavin'. So there are ties, there are bridges.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have a play? I know that not everybody's kind of like been postponing, but is there something in the works that like in the next year of yours that will probably be produced? Is there something that already happening?
Well, something, because my workshop closed, and the theater that was supporting the workshop, National Black Theater here in New York City, has been, they've just nurtured me and taken such good care of me, and they've just been a champion of this play. which I'm just going to plug it really quick. What is inspired? It is a fictional story, but it is inspired by the true story of my friend who was wrongfully incarcerated for 28 years. He actually was just released 6 months ago. Wow. He is actually, if you've been binge watching on Netflix and you've watched the limited series, The Innocence Files, which is highly acclaimed. Yeah. He's episode 7. Oh. Anyhow. Okay. I had written a play well before the Netflix special came out, inspired by his story. I had gone out to see him. We've been writing letters. I feel like I might have gotten my first letter from him when I was in Madison, now that I'm thinking about that.
Wow.
It's been in the works for a while. And I actually feel like I remember sitting at the dining table. Say her name.
My mother hosted you at her apartment.
That's right. That's right.
And opening that letter. Anyhow, because we don't know when we're getting back into a theater, and they do have obligations to other writers to move on in their seasons, they had committed to finishing the piece in 2020. We don't know that it's going to be able to be workshopped. So we're actually just started conversations about turning it into a radio play of sorts.
Oh, wow.
And having that produced.
So cool.
Well, best of luck with that, for sure. Yeah.
And we're sending you many virtual Swedish fish, because you love Swedish fish.
I forgot about that.
The biggest bag of Swedish fish I have
ever. It took me so long to finish that bag of fish, but I ate a whole bag.
Andy's not allowed to have Swedish fish because that tears his teeth out. I'm not kidding. He pulled a tooth out once eating a Swedish fish.
Well, it was, okay, wait a minute. It was a temporary crown. It was a temporary crown that pulled that.
But it still came out with the fish. Who eats fish with temporary?
So he pulled out some candy and there was a tooth attached?
Kind of, yeah.
Yes, Gail saw it. And it was a temporary crown, and I forgot it was there. To be clear, I wasn't like, temporary crown, I'm going to eat some chewy fish. Anyway.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So anyhow, all the fish are for you. That's what I'm trying to say.
All Swedish fish.
I'll feed you fish, Andy, if you come back to Park Terrace West.
Next time I'm in Wisconsin, we're gonna have a little Park Terrace West party.
Tracey, thank you so much for being part of CCT's first 5 years. We are so proud and honored to have you in the family of that, and so we're so glad, and I'm glad you're healthy and moving forward and just so successful, and we love to hear all the updates you have for us.
And I hope that we can find another show someday to have you come into.
Yeah,
I'd love to come back and see you guys.
Yes.
And eat cheese curds. I tried.
Yes.
And actually get to experience Manhattan. Something a little less pressure, guys.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well.
Right. All right. Thank you, Tracey.
Thank you.
Love you.
So good to see you.
Bye.
Take care.
All right. Oops. Oh, okay. There we go.
She's inspiring. She has got a ton of stuff going on.
She's one of the smartest people that I know. And
she's a smart cookie.
She's a neat lady. And she's right. I remember when she was here, she sequestered herself. She was so worried because she has basically an hour, 20-minute monologue to learn.
Yeah.
I don't know how anyone does that, honestly. And she was always running lines with people. And you know what? She was amazing.
People still talk about it. They say that show Lady Day and that woman was amazing. And yeah, it's true. It's true. It was good. So, okay. So we wanted to actually make sure that we thank everybody. I don't know when this episode is actually going to air, but today is not only Cinco de Mayo, but Taco Tuesday. Yeah. Kind of huge. And it's also the new Giving Tuesday of May, I guess. Is this a new thing? I think because
yes,
it's not always been a Giving Tuesday.
No. This is new because of the pandemic. So.
Okay. Well, we just want to take a moment and thank you so much to all of our supporters and the people who have supported CCT. And if Giving Tuesday is part of your thing, we would be happy to help and take whatever support you have for us and turn it into amazing productions for the next 5 years.
Yes. Here's to many more 5 years.
Yes. So stay healthy out there. Stay safe. Thank you so much for our first responders and all the people working in the front of the lines, and even, up through all those, like the grocery workers and the people who are out there every day. So we're grateful for them. And Until
Very
next
grateful.
time.
And keep supporting the arts because theater's coming back. We may not know exactly when and in what way, but it will be back soon.
We're all taking this time to have like a huge inhale, and man, when we exhale, it's going to be huge.
Think of the art that's being created with everybody stuck in their homes.
Yeah.
Like writing art and arts and things like that. Anyway, enough philosophizing.
And your landlord's name is Art.
My landlord's name is Art. And our friend Abby's, who we interviewed, her son's name is Art.
Right. There's art everywhere.
There's art everywhere. Art's everywhere. Anyway.
Okay.
Thank you all for joining us. And we
Thank you.
Soon.